Have you ever wondered what you would do in a real emergency? I mean, what if you had the power to actually save someone's life? Well, today we've got an incredible, true story about a young girl who did exactly that. This is Saved by a Friend.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think a kid, a regular kid, maybe even someone just like you, could be a real-life hero? The answer is a huge yes, and you're about to meet one today.
All right, so every great story needs its heroes, right? And this one starts with two best friends who were pretty much inseparable. Let's get to know Salma and Alice.
So this is Salma. She's 13 years old and lives out in California. And really, she's just a normal kid, likes to hang out with friends, ride her bike, but she had no idea she was about to do something absolutely amazing. So how does a regular kid turn into a hero? I mean, it's not like she got bit by a radioactive spider or anything. For Salma, her hero origin story actually starts in a classroom. Yep, a class that would end up changing everything. Okay, get this. This is where it gets kind of wild. Just 2 days before the accident happened, only 48 hours, Salma took a first aid class at her school. She had absolutely no clue how quickly she was going to need what she learned. Her class probably looked a lot like this picture. A bunch of students learning the basics of how to help someone if they get sick or hurt. And this is the exact place where Salma learned this super important life-saving skill called CPR. Okay, so let's back up a second. What even is first aid? It sounds kind of official, but it's really simple. It's just the first help you give to someone who gets hurt, right after it happens before the paramedics or doctors can get there. And then there's CPR. That's a big one, right? Cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It sounds super complicated, but the idea is actually pretty straightforward. It's a special way you can help get someone's heart and lungs working again if they've stopped. And yeah, it is so important to know. So in her class, Salma learned these 3 basic steps. Step 1, check if the person is okay, if they can respond to you. Step 2, immediately call for help, like an ambulance. And step 3, start pushing hard and fast right on the center of their chest.
So Salma had these new skills in her back pocket. But, like anyone, she's probably hoping she'd never have to use them. Well, just 1 day later, a totally normal afternoon turned into one of those moments that changes everything.
So here's what happened. Salma and her best friend Alice were just out doing what they do, having fun, riding their bikes, and then, bam, out of nowhere, Alice crashes into a tree. And you can hear how scary it was from Salma herself. She said, and I quote, "I've never seen anybody in an accident like that. It was horrible." Wow. Can you even imagine how terrified she must have been in that moment?
And this was the moment, the one that mattered. Your best friend is hurt. You're totally scared. What do? Well, Salma is about to show us exactly what a hero does. Alice was just lying on the ground, not moving at all. You can bet Salma's heart was pounding out of her chest. But through all that fear, something else just kicked in. Her training. Everything she learned in that first aid class came flooding back. She didn't even think twice. She ran right over to Alice, checked for a pulse. Then she leaned in close, listening to see if her friend was breathing. Nothing. She knew what to do. It was time for CPR. So she started pushing on Alice's chest, just like they taught her. Counting, pushing, and then, after about 30 of these pushes, something incredible happened. Alice moved. And right at that moment, someone yelled that an ambulance was on its way. Help was coming. And, because Salma was brave enough to do something, and because she was prepared, this really scary story has a really, really happy ending. So get this. Alice said later that she doesn't even remember the crash. The next thing she remembers is waking up in a hospital bed. And one of the first things the doctors told her was, "Your friend has saved your life." Whoa. Can you imagine being told that? And what about Salma, our hero? She wasn't thinking about being famous or getting a reward. She was just happy she could help her friend. She literally said, "I'm so happy I could help my best friend." Now that is what a true friend is all about. An experience like that, it really changes you. And it definitely changed Salma. Now, when people ask her what she wants to be when she grows up, she has an answer right away. She wants to be a doctor or a nurse, so she can keep on helping people for the rest of her life. Man, what an amazing story. Okay, before we wrap this up, let's just do a quick recap of some of the important words we learned today, just to make sure they stick. All right, let's run through these real quick. An accident is just when something bad happens that nobody planned. Your pulse? That's the feeling of your heart beating. You can feel it on your wrist. Compressions are those pushes on the chest you do during CPR. And an ambulance? Well, you know that one. It's the special van that takes people to the hospital when they're hurt.
So, what's the big lesson here? Salma Hernandez is a total real-life hero, and she proved you don't need superpowers or a cape to save someone's life. Sometimes all it takes is knowing what to do and having the courage to actually do it. So that leaves us with one last question for you to think about. You just saw what a 13-year-old was able to do, so how will you be a hero?